Watch out now, watch out, watch out now. Howdy, hey guys, welcome back. So in the last video, you guys saw us go ahead and finish up the flooring and got everything done with the actual foundation part of it. Now in this video, it's gonna be all about framing up your walls and getting your walls up. So to start off, what you wanna do is, the way I'm doing this wall here, this is gonna be the back wall, which I'm building now. And it's just gonna be a straight wall. It's not gonna be any windows, no doors or anything. So it's pretty simple. But what you wanna do is, you wanna go ahead and figure out how you're gonna lay out your shed, how you're gonna lay out your walls. And what I'm gonna do is, this side wall here, I'm gonna let this side wall come all the way to the back. So because I wanna do that, I gotta remember that in order to get my 16 inches on center along this back wall, I'm gonna have to start at the end. So the reason that I put this 2x4 here is just to show you guys that, you know, if you're afraid of the measuring part of it, just go ahead and lay it out. So it's nothing to really explain. You just measure it out. So if you hear a lot of people say burn 3.5 inches so that you're able to get your 16 inches on center, pretty much what they're saying is account for that 2x4 on the adjacent wall. So the wall right next to that wall that you're building, you need to account for that 2x4 that's gonna be there. So to account for that, I just put it there physically. And now that I put it there, I already know I'm gonna put a stud here. It's automatic, it's at the end. Then I came over here, just like how I did on the floor. Came over here. This is 16 inches on center, which is this mark, which I have marked with a C. And over here is 3/4 of an inch away from this mark, which means that when you get your 2x4, if I go and say, listen, all of these marks, all these full hashes is where I'm gonna put the end of my 2x4. When I put the end of my 2x4 in that hash, if you can see, it lines up right in the center, which will give you your 16 inches on center. If you do 3/4 of an inch behind or 3/4 of an inch in front of the 16 inch on center mark. So what I did was I went down the whole length of the board and I marked out all of my 16 inches on center. And for my bottom plate, all I did was I got two 8-foot boards. I put one in the middle, since I already had my edges already laid out where I'm gonna do. I already had the edges over here laid out. So all I did was got a 8-foot board, put in between here, and I came and measured to this 16 inch on center, which is the yeah guys, what I was explaining was about my bottom plate, which this is called a bottom plate because this is the actual plate that's going to go on the floor, and this is going to be my top plate. But on my bottom plate, I used two 8-foot pieces, which is 16 foot all together. But also remember, like I said, you have to burn that 3.5 inches so that you're able to get your full actual 16 foot on centers on the outside. So when you start putting up your sheathing, you're able to actually have 16 inch centers from the edge of the building, not from where you actually building your actual wall. But with my bottom plate, my 16 inch on center is going to be actually in the middle of both of these cuts. So half of the 2x4 stud is going to go on this board, and the other half of the 2x4 stud is going to go on this board. And I'm not sure if this is what you're supposed to do or not, but I didn't want both of my cuts to be in the same exact spot, so I just off center it just a little bit. This cut here is not going to be on the stud. I just put a block here for bracing, and this is going to be the stud here. But with that being said, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys on a time lapse, and we're gonna go ahead and put this wall together, and then I'll go ahead and explain everything as far as cutting and measuring and how I actually gonna get my top and bottom plates. So remember, this is gonna be my bottom plate, so I'm just gonna flip this one over, and these two are gonna be my top plates, and I'm gonna push those over there, and we're gonna nail those wall joists or wall studs to the top and bottom plate. So I'm gonna put you guys on time lapse and we're gonna get to it, guys. Alright guys, so basically what you guys just watched me doing at time lapse was this is gonna be my front wall. You already saw me install the back wall. This is gonna be my front wall here, and the plan is to have a 6-inch, well, 2 3-inch doors, I mean 3-foot doors. So what I came up with, or one 6-inch door, I'm not sure how I'm gonna do it yet. I'm still debating on how I'm gonna do it, but I can still frame it out. So it's basically the same as we did framing up that wall as far as marking out our studs and everything. So basically you got a stud here, which is already automatic because it's at the end of the board. A regular stud there, and we marked it the same way we marked the floors and that other board. Your 16-inch on center is what I have with the half of marks, and this full mark is where the actual board is going to end, and that's the center of the board. Same here, and here is going to be a little different because what I did was I went to the center of the building, which is going to be approximately about 8 foot. You know, the building is not, you know, I'm not a professional construction person or a framer or anything, so I may be a little off here and there. So we're gonna say this the center, which is about 8 foot. So what I did was from 8 foot I went back 3 foot that way, which would land me at 5 foot. And this is gonna be where my door cutout is, and my my door frame, the jack stud and the king stud and everything. You're still gonna mark your 16-inch centers on top because we still have to support that weight. So, and for this side I did the same thing. I came to 8 foot and I went back 3 foot on this side, which got me to 11 foot. So that's gonna be my door, and we continued the rest like normal. So I'm gonna put you guys up and get everything set up, and I'm gonna start laying everything out. And it's gonna be a little difficult because the way I supported that wall is kind of in my way. So I think I'm gonna just lay everything out like I need it, get everything cut the way I need it, and then I'll just adjust my supports on that wall. So I'm probably gonna put you guys on a time lapse. I'm not gonna show you guys me laying it out because it might take me a while to figure everything out, because like I say, I'm trying to figure it out too. But I'll get back with you guys when I get everything laid out. All right guys, so what I have is 10-foot boards over there. That's pretty much, I didn't have to trim or cut because they pretty much were 10 foot. I have one board here that I need to trim off a little bit on to make it 10 foot. And for my jack studs, which is gonna hold a header, the door frame header, my jack stud is gonna be 7 foot because I want the door to be 7 foot high and 6 foot wide. So I'm gonna cut my jack studs to 7 foot, and I'm gonna just get you guys set up and get you guys to watch me cut this and place it where I need to place it, and get my header set up, and then get my cripple stud set up, and I come back to you. All right guys, so I'm gonna just put all my cripple studs and my extra 10-foot board that I had to cut down some. I'm gonna go ahead and set it in place, and then I'll come back and let you all see how I set up the header. All right guys, so that's basically the gist of it. And what I did for my door header, y'all listen, I am an amateur, I'm not a professional, so I'm still like trying to figure out certain things, and I still make mistakes too. So what I did was I ended up cutting this header 6 feet wide, which my door opener is going to be 6 feet wide. But what I did not account for was this jack stud that has to go and support this header, and I cut it only 6 feet wide. So if my door opener is going to be 6 feet wide, and I cut the jack stud, I cut the header to just 6 feet wide, then I don't have 6 feet opening, because I still have to install a jack stud in order to support that weight. And I'm also going to put a king stud in, which is going to go right along the edge of the jack stud all the way back up to the top plate. So I'm gonna put you guys on a time lapse, and I'm gonna go ahead and nail in my top plate. And like I said, this is the same as the other side of adjacent wall, or the other parallel wall. Right at 8 foot, my top plate is split, so I'm gonna split a joist right in between it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys on a time lapse, and I'm gonna get this thing nailed in. And for the bottom plate, you don't need any studs between your door opening, because you're going to eventually cut that out. You just want it there for support so that you're able to stand it up. And I'm not sure if I have to stand it up by myself like I did the first wall. And if you guys saw me on that first wall, it actually came apart the first time I tried to lift it up. So I ended up putting it in two pieces. So when I put my top plate on, I should be able to tie that in good, and it should be strong and perfect. So I'm gonna get you guys on time lapse, and we're gonna get to it. All right, guys, so basically what I'm doing is I'm going and just nailing in everything, getting everything nailed in and framed up. As you can see, my supports that I used on the first wall that I built, they're in my way, so I'm gonna have to remove them. But I'll go ahead and just nail in, the rest of the framing that I can nail in, and just move around it till we get to that point. So that's pretty much it for right now. I might throw some music in so you're not bored just with silence, but I think the clip is about over with. So I'll just keep talking till the clip's over with, and then I'll insert a new clip. I thank you guys for watching my videos and supporting my channel, man. I appreciate you guys. Remember, y'all, make sure y'all subscribe and like and share and comment and do everything else in the book that you can. All right, guys, I'm back. Listen, I know I didn't get recorded this wall right here going up, this front wall going up. When you're trying to work and you're kind of by yourself and you're trying to get this thing done, and it's hot out here, your mind don't always think to go back and turn the camera on. But I'm sorry, guys, but I'm gonna try to make sure I get the rest of the walls going up from this point on. I have this wall up. That is my 7 foot door high, 6 foot wide door. Well, that's the cutout. I mean, it's not a door yet. But I have this tarp, and listen, I know my tarp is not covering the whole entire floor. I put those bracing up before I put the tarp down, and didn't realize I need to put the tarp back down to cover my plywood, and I didn't feel like taking those bracing back up. So I'm gonna just go purchase 2 more tarps, just one to lay here partially and one to lay on the other side partially, just so I can hold me to the weekend. I don't like to do too much work during the week. I do work a 9 to 5 job, sadly, but hey, it's a blessing. I'm able to feed my family and put gas in the car. So I thank God for everything that he's blessed me with, and I'm ready and always willing to want more from God and to see what else he has in store for my life and my future. But getting back to the shed, guys, I'm done for the day. I'm gonna catch back up with you guys on another day, probably next weekend, next Saturday when I get a little time. This is what I have thus far, and guys, I just want to throw a disclaimer out there. I don't think I said a disclaimer at the beginning of the first bill, but I'm not a professional contractor. I'm not a professional framer. So you make sure before you follow anything that I tell you to do, any steps that I've taken in this process, make sure you consult a professional. Don't do everything verbatim from what I said. That's just the way I'm doing it. So just make sure that you consult a professional before you start this. Make sure you have professional plans before you start this, and make sure you prepared before you start this type of project. Just had to throw that disclaimer out there. I'll be back with y'all on another one, guys.